All right, very excited to get started here. I finally got an intro, all that. I think I'm going to say screw the draft, and we're just going to start watching some high school football players. To be honest, I think that's more what I should focus this channel on. But today we're watching Penn State commit Peyton Falzone from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Just pull up his 6'4.5", 200 pounds. Like I said, Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Kid just committed to Penn State, I think, like the 13th. So very excited to watch this kid. All the quarterbacks we've watched so far in this class have been pretty good. And very tall, both of them. But yeah, I think with these videos, I'm going to try to just play the highlight tape and then try to hold my commentary for the second half / the end of the video. So I'm going to fire it up here. So this is a junior year highlight tape. His last season, 2024. This kid's a class of 2026. Four or 540, I don't know. We'll have to see that show up on the tape here, but I'll let you all watch and then I'll give my 2 cents towards the end. So I think what stands out to me first is the kid's a great athlete. Very tall, 6'4", that's a real number. Some of these kids just completely BS on their heights, but this kid's legit 6'4", but I think he's a little bit underdeveloped weight-wise. And, of course, the kid's a high school player, and this is kind of what you see these high school 6'4s look like, where they're real skinny, but that's not to say he can't put on weight. I think he's got a good frame to put on weight, but hell of an athlete at 6'4". I mean, already right there, if I was Penn State, that's where I offer. But I think you get real excited about this kid with some of these throws here. Throwing on the run. Kid has a very good arm. I just don't think he sets his feet all the time when the pocket starts collapsing, and I think you kind of see some velocity come off the ball. So I don't really look at that as something that I'm like, oh, I can't take this kid because his footwork's not good. But I think if you work on the footwork, I mean, you guys tell me what you think. I'm not a quarterback coach, but it just doesn't look like he's generating a lot of power from the lower body on this one, especially. I mean, the back foot came up at like right when he was throwing it. So I'm not looking at that as something, bad footwork. You know, the kid's 17, 16 in this video. That's something I'm excited about to get my quarterback coach to watch and work on with this kid. And then you see throws like this. Like, I get more excited about these than the deep throws. And I say this every time I watch a quarterback, but this was an absolute BB here. And it looked like he did a bit of a better job setting the feet that time. But when we start talking about the more nuance of the quarterback position, high school quarterbacks, I'm usually never worried about, pocket presence, the feet. But I've had a bit of a philosophical crisis recently with the arm angles and all that and the throwing motions. And I actually picked this up talking to somebody on YouTube here. But basically, he thinks it's a lot harder for quarterbacks to change their throwing motion from high school to college. So that's something you want to look for, right? How's the release in high school? Usually I just would not even care, but I'm thinking about it. That's not something that I'm going to harp on yet, but something to consider, I think. You kind of want to see a better release, I guess, and not just pure arm strength. And that's what I used to look for, is just the pure arm strength. Didn't really care about the release. Definitely don't care about the footwork in the sense, like, I think that's something that can be fixed, definitely. But, throwing's a full body phenomenon. So we'll just let a couple more plays here. I used to stop these when I thought we had a good idea of the player, but you guys let me know how long you want these videos to be. But I think under 10 minutes is ideal for your viewing experience. That's another one right here. Back foot didn't look great, and we saw him throw a BB before, so why did this one take so long to get there? Well, I think it's footwork, but high school prospects by their very nature are going to be raw, especially quarterbacks. It's such a tough position. Like I said, running a football, there's not that much going on athletically. We've all done that in the backyard. But actually working on your throwing motion, that's way more technical, and it's not a motion that's very natural, I think, to human experience. People have been running from cheetahs and velociraptors like ever since we were living in caves and shit. Throwing footballs, that's just a development over the past 150 years, and really not even a half century when you really think about it. Yeah, so I really like this kid. Easy 6 on the frame. I'm going to go ahead and give him a 5 on the arm strength. Ball placement looked really good, but I think I should change accuracy to, I guess, more of a footwork. I don't know. We'll give him a 4 for now. Easy 6 on the athleticism. I think the kid's about as athletic as it gets. I don't know. These I don't really care about just because they're high schoolers, but definitely a blue chip prospect. I just think he's a bit more raw than Jared Curtis and Faison Brandon, and I wouldn't be surprised if it takes this kid a year to become a contributor in Happy Valley. The other two kids, I could kind of understand seeing them play right away, but I think this kid's a bit lower ranked, but I think you definitely see the upside in the frame. I think he has a good arm, and he's a hell of an athlete. Yeah, definitely in love with the athleticism. I'm talking like 85 percentile. He probably is ranking among the quarterbacks, probably higher. Claims to run a 4.5 40. I don't really buy it, but I guess the catapult claims that, which is like more database than him just pulling it out of his ass. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think. Any other kids you want me to watch. I'm probably going to prioritize the bigger names now and the bigger commits, the kids that just committed. But I'm definitely open to suggestions because eventually this summer I'm going to run out of names and going to need them. But yeah, really appreciate you guys. Like I said, I'm open to suggestions. Thanks for watching. Good. This kid was a lot of fun to watch.